Thank you. And thank you again, Alan, for having me here. It's a great honor. It's been a great honor to organize TEDHack in Romania. It was the first time a TEDHack was organized in Romania. You guys have to have patience a little bit. I'm a little bit nervous. Someone told me that I have to imagine the audience being naked, but I see a hall full of guys, so I don't know what to do, to still be nervous or to do the picture. So sorry, Alan, for changing the presentation. I've changed the subject to 10 rules of thumb for running a local CPaaS, practical guide to compete the big players. So are there any big players in the room? If yes, I should stop this and I will not tell anything more. If not, I'll go to the next slide. So we are from Bucharest, Romania. Actually, we are proud to be from Bucharest, Romania. Romania, it's a country in the EU and has these beautiful landscapes and castles and everything you see here in this picture. It's a country that Prince Charles loves. Yes, thank you. It's a country that Prince Charles loves very much and comes to us every year. But still here at that summit, it seems to be a country chosen a few hours ago as an example for card fraud transactions. I don't know if anyone remembers this. No, I have to say that is, of course, fake news. Oh, it was you, Marco. Is he here now? So, a few words about myself. I'm the founder and the CTO of Inovo, a company established in 2006. Actually, I was in my last year at college in computer science. I used to work for Telecom Romania. It wasn't then part of the Deutsche Telekom group, it was part of the Greek group from 2005 until 2011, where I managed part of the network operating center. That was the broadband network, the voice and IPTV, the data center and the system for provisioning and monitoring. I started my career as a help desk agent, then moved to network engineer, software developer, and then I managed different positions. In 2011, I left Telecom to start developing the company I founded during college. And now a few words about the company. We are a team of 20 developers and network engineers. We try to cover the gap in Romania between the software industry and the telecommunication industry. There is still a big gap and there is still lots of things to do. We consider ourselves leading CPaaS telco operator for the Romanian B2B market, of course excluding the big players, and this is a recipe of how to fight them. We build and operate programmable telecom applications, and we don't steal money, so feel free to stay. So how do you fight the big guys? First of all, are there any big guys here? Is there, I don't know, Vodafone, Orange, or Twilio, or some of the major? No, so I'll continue. So first of all, I'll go fast through the 10 steps and then take each one of them. Find your vision. So it has to be your own vision. I'll detail later on what the vision is about. We believe in a faster time to market because the big guys, they react slow and they do not adapt fast to whatever happens. It's lots of, I used to work in a big telco. There's lots of bureaucracy, lots of paperwork. Until something happens in the market, and until they react, it can take up to 2 or 3 years. You have to optimize your costs. So our vision is to run as much as you can on-prem. Of course, you are selling cloud services, monthly recurring services, but try to run as much as you can on-prem if you can do it. Find synergies. That means that with the team you have and with the competencies that you have inside your team, try to find different other services that can be sold to your customers as a cross-selling strategy in sales. And of course, adapt your weapons to your competitors' weak points. That means that you will have to fight on two different battlefields. You will have to fight with your local competitors, that is the fixed network operators and the mobile network operators, but that is on the local ground. On the global market, you will have to compete with the big players the CPaaS of the global market. But you have to adapt how you fight each one of them. It's not the same weapons that you throw in the fight. Of course, try to have a disruptive approach as much as you can. Try to compete on features with the local telcos, as there is no better approach than to create a market and not compete on an existing one. Try to use experience, education, and exposure, because from what I've seen, at least in Romania, I don't know if it's true everywhere in Europe at least, for us, sales, it's all about education. So when we try to sell something, it's basically we educate the customer so that we create the need, so he understands that the digital transformation is possible inside a telco and with programmable telecom tools. Try to have an omni-channel approach. That means to aggregate as much as you can all the communication channels, that is text, SMS, chat, together with the over-the-top channels like WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, and so on, with voice, of course. And now, the last two is the API network. Try to integrate as much as you can with third-party API ecosystem and build apps and expose APIs. Now, I will go through each one of these 10 concepts. First of all, the vision. Now, the only constant in life is change. And according to Stephen Hawking, intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. Now, if you want to adapt to change and you want your offering to be something that is according to the present need, you need to understand what is changing in the new generation. How do they prefer to communicate? What is different than your own preferences? Don't try to sell products according to the way you try to communicate. Try to understand the customers, and not the customers in your generation, but the generations that come. So for me, I've tried to understand millennials because we work with them as part of our developing teams, but not just from the employer side, but also from the service offering side, because they are also our colleagues, our employees, but they are also our customers. So you need to understand the present, envision the future, and adapt your offering to the constant change. So I've put here some facts between phone call and SMS. So people now are texting more and calling less. That's a reality. Everybody prefers to do so. But you need to understand what are the reasons behind it. So ironically, a millennial is more likely to call his voice-driven vacuum cleaner and instruct it to start cleaning the house while driving than to voice call his mom. He or she will more probably text her using Google Voice input keyboard. Now, this is a fact. You need to understand that in order to see how you adapt your platforms, how do you adapt your products to instruct something by my voice than by typing or choosing options. But that doesn't mean that I really prefer voice interactions with other persons. It's just a faster way to communicate. So we prefer using voice as an input method as it's more faster than typing. But we do not prefer the voice channel anymore. We prefer text. And we think that this is because it hides our real emotions, and we don't need to fake our mood, because when you engage in a voice call, at some point in time, you must pretend you're happy, even if you're not. So you're calling somebody, it's a client, a frustrated client, and it's like this with your teeth. Hi, yes, I know. But deep down inside, you don't feel that. So it seems that the new generation doesn't want to fake the mood. They want to act natural, and typing text will hide your emotion. It's a neutral message. It's something that, it doesn't have to fake your mood. It doesn't have to say something about your state of spirit. So if you understand this, then you can go on and have a vision about your products. If you don't understand the need and the way the world is changing, you might not take the right decision. So the second rule of thumb is to have a faster time to market. So in this time, quality, and cost triangle, place your bet on the fast and good. That means, of course, expensive. And a natural question will come, but where do the money come from? Optimizing the cost will be the answer. That is the third recommendation, to optimize your costs so that you have the budget and the money to afford this faster time to market approach. If you do the faster time to market approach, then you'll be one step ahead your competition, one step ahead your local, your global competitors, but of course you'll need money to do it, and we think that the money will come from, at least a part of it will come from optimizing the costs. Now, keep a low OPEX and try to buy cloud services only when it's really needed. So even if you're tempted to take all these beautiful cloud services for logging, for alarms, for anything that is in your technical infrastructure, or for, I don't know, CRMs, ticketing systems, whatever, you can easily grow your services to 20, 30, or even 50 systems. It will increase your OPEX. And then you're left with no money for developing, and this is where you have to invest all your energy, in developing and not in buying other guys' services. So if you can do some open source thing, if you can adapt something that it's there and it does 80% of the cloud services, try to do that. It's a far more better approach, and it's a thing that will help you. Now, run the services on your own virtual cloud infrastructure. Of course, you can go to Amazon, you can go to Google, you can go to Microsoft, but that is, again, costs. Now, you need to save your energy for developing, because that's your only weapon to the big guys. If you are not doing that, you'll have no bullets left at some point in time, and they will defeat you. And of course, remember that it's not Black Friday every day, so don't try to scale your infrastructure for that single day in the year when you need 100 times more resources than a regular day. If you want to scale, you can do a hybrid approach in a private cloud with a public cloud system. So this is how we run our services. It's a hybrid cloud between on-premise and cloud. So by running your own cloud infrastructure, you make the transition from cost to revenue. Because if you try to accommodate all the services and do all the virtualization with the servers, with the storage, and all the challenges that comes from this technical strategy, then you'll end up having a team that is focused and specialized in keeping those services up, or maintaining those virtual systems, in maintaining the storages and the health of the servers. So you find yourself a cloud service operator. And what yesterday was a cost that you needed to pay money to Amazon or to some public cloud offering system, now you can sell services in the same market. And it really helps on cross-selling. Once you get a customer for the C+ platform, you can easily cross-sell or upsell him to change his, I don't know, to virtualize his infrastructure, or to migrate him from a different service to your own service. And we're doing that. We're using the platform as a revenue channel, and we're selling VPSs, VDSs, backup as a service, and disaster recovery services. Now, this is the synergy that we found. Found your synergy. It means that we made a transition from this CPaaS, which was the only offering we had, telecommunication platform as a service, to our clients, and we used the hardware platform, and we completed our offering with a service as a with a software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. Now, the yellow guy in the middle, it's us. Now, this aggressive guy, this is the guy coming from the global CPaaS market. So this might be Twilio or some of his competitors. He's very aggressive. We cannot compete him. He's got all the skills. He's far more better than we are. We're just a local CPaaS provider in one of the countries. This guy, he thinks he fights us, but he really doesn't. He just, he's there on the stage trying to kick us. This is the PSTN telco operator. So if you ask him in a meeting, he thinks he fights, he will definitely say he fought you yesterday, but he was just like this with you. Now, what you need to do is really focus on this guy. But you have to have different weapons for those two guys. Actually, no weapon is needed for this guy, so he will actually burn his energy out and fall. But for this guy, you need to have real good weapons. So the weapons here are for the global CPaaS, for the Twilio, or the black guy. Now you need local culture and language. Use this because it's a barrier of communication. Even if they have a global offering with I don't know 1,000 help desk agents answering very fast, it's still not your language. It's still not your culture. So you can defeat him. You can do competitive pricing because of his marketing budgets or of his 1,000 employees. He still has a price that cannot go lower than, and you can. And try offering integrated services, as I told you about the synergies in the previous slides, and present yourself as a single point of contact that can solve both the CPaaS platform issues and the hosting environment, the disaster recoveries, and some other integrated services that go very well hand in hand with what you're offering on the CPaaS side. So these are the weapons you can fight with this big guy, otherwise you're lost. Now, with this guy, you don't need to do anything, actually. You just need to focus your energy on features, APIs, trying to be omnichannel, and do as much as you can on building a pre-integrated third-party software ecosystem for each of the verticals that you're selling, like medical or financial or tourism or e-commerce, the markets that you're involved in. Of course, you have to be disruptive. Everybody tells you to do that. You cannot do it 100%, but at least try to find some of your services that are not in your competitors' offering. Because it's very simple to compete on a new market that you create by your own innovation than to try to lower your price. That's not an option. Now, does anybody know her? No. Now, this is the wow experience we have from our customers when we're presenting them what Programmable Telecom can do for them. When we're showing them, some if this and that integration between the system and some real-time events, between IoT and some system that he has in his own yard. And the customers, at least, when we present the systems, they are not aware of the capabilities that Programmable Telecom has now in the industry. And basically, we think that selling is basically more education and then selling. Once you educate it, you created the need, and the follow-up will come naturally after the presentation. Education, and this is why we started doing TED in Romania, and I thank Al again for having us hosting TED in Romania, is because we try to also educate not only the market, but also the developers, and to show them how easily it's possible to build telecom applications in just, 5 hours or 6 hours of writing some code. Or we had even TED hacks that had not any single line of code, just using some visual designer, we were able to get some real-time data from Bitcoin and US dollar rate exchange and to initiate some WebRTC conference and SMSs, but without writing any line of code. And this is part of the education program that we are involved in Romania, and we're very, very proud to have, I think 10 hacks, because otherwise we were not eligible for the location prize. And these are images from our office. We hosted the TED hack in our office. Rule number 8, have an omni-channel approach. Try to integrate all the channels when it comes to text, like SMS and Telegram and WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger and Viber and Instagram and whatever, with voice telephony, and even go further with CRM, ticketing, and transactional email services, because from what we've seen, our customers needed all these channels bundled in a single app. And this is a very big differentiator, and you'll win some fights with your competition if you're doing this. And these are some of the brands we promote locally in Romania for virtual call center, for chat to brand, for hosted PBX. And this is in the omni-channel approach. Now, rule number 9, build your API network. Now, this is how the network used to look like in 1953 and in Kansas in 1911. So basically these are telegraph or telephone lines connecting offices, people's houses to public switches. So this is like, you don't even understand if this is fog or this is the effect of the wires. It's not clear, but imagine these wires today are the webhooks between your platform and Salesforce and HubSpot and I don't know, you name it, whatever third-party software you want to integrate it. This is the real network of the presence. These invisible wires that connect your platform to the other guys' platforms. And if you're good enough and can achieve an ecosystem mature enough and grown with, I don't know, 15, 100 major players, then you'll have this invisible network, which is far, far more powerful than the physical network of wires and then every network now that, you know, SDNs and whatever. That's not the real network. The network of the present is this one. But imagine there are webhooks and not real wires in this Stockholm winter. Now this is rule number 10, and I want you to be very careful. Now this is the APIs. That's rule number 10. Rule number 10 says that write your own 10 rules and don't copy mine. Thank you. So it was better being nervous than imagining all you guys naked. So.
That was excellent, Andrei. I think there's quite a few people here that are looking at building out their own CPaaS business. So I think there were some very good pointers in being a new entrant or being a small guy when dealing with the big guys. That was an excellent picture as well. That was good, well chosen. How did you find that picture?
Well, you know, I came this morning from Bucharest, landed here at 10. I looked at my slides, looked at the other guy's slides, wasn't happy, and moved to a restaurant here and wrote all the things.
Excellent. Do we have any questions for Andrei?
I was interested in your analysis of using both public cloud providers and build your own infrastructure. Yeah. Is there a bit of cost overlap there that you've got to pay to build the skills to build your own infrastructure and also have the skills around the public cloud provider that you're using? So there's some expense in choosing the hybrid mechanism.
You're referring about building the hardware infrastructure that keeps the virtualized system.
Doing that in parallel with also using public cloud providers.
Yeah, we're switched from you know, monolithic apps to microservices, and this allows us to use Kubernetes or this kind of microservices and Dockering system that allows us to put part of the infrastructure in Amazon or some other public offering, but keep it switched off, and bring it up only when we need it in terms of scalability. And this is a very, very huge improvement in terms of costs, because we're trying to invest every and each penny in enlarging our ecosystem of pre-integrated APIs or in developing the APIs, not in paying to Google or those guys that they don't need our money, they have enough. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Rob. Oh, there you go.
How do you manage your customer quality requirements based on the fact that you do not own the network?
Yet, we do not own the network yet. We use layer 2 MPLS VPN for the premium customers. So we have partnership with all the major wholesale providers, and we rent fiber optic cables and they provide us a layer 2 VPN from the customer premises to our data center, and we also use cheap DSL or 3G, 4G backup lines that have a dial-in VPN tunnel just in case something happened to the fiber optic connections. It goes down, then the traffic switches automatically to the other backup line. And we're also using monitoring tools for SLA and MOS quality for voice over IP and this kind of thing, yeah. And it's transparent for them.
Any other questions?
If not, put your clothes on. I'm gonna
And it was interesting, seeing sort of those 10 rules pop out, because a lot of companies I work with, a lot of companies I know of, in terms of sort of the steps, in initially being very cloud-based and realizing they need to bring it in and manage it and then just use it for offload in a hybrid sense and using microservices to make that transition easy. I'm seeing lots of small, medium companies go through that transition to be cost effective. Because you're right, when you're competing, yes, you've got a local relationship, but you've got to be, because you don't have the scale, cost effectiveness makes or break a company.
Yeah.
So that was great insights. So again, thank Andrei so much for great Q&A.
Thank you all.
We'll just talk about that.